All right, you ready to get this party started?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Don't forget I'm up here.
Oh, I'm ready, baby. Let's do it.
Hello everybody. We are back with another video today, and we are going to be, again, he doesn't know what we're talking about. I am going to be sharing in just a moment kind of what our conversation today will be about, and so next time, if you'd like to come up with a conversation starter.
I'll think about it.
Okay. So this week we have been binging out on one of our favorite TV shows called
Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight. So the premise of this show is pretty much these quote-unquote experts put together these couples, and the couples basically are marrying one another without ever having met each other, seen each other, any of that. And so the expert's job is basically to make sure that they've done a good job matching these couples. And so during the show, we get an opportunity to see the wedding and kind of what their families think about it. And once the wedding actually takes place, then we get an opportunity to just kind of follow the couples to see kind of how they coexist with one another for 7 weeks. And then the part of the show that is kind of a little off to us is that at 7 weeks or 7 or 8 weeks, somewhere in there, the couples have to decide whether or not they want to remain married. Now, to me, it's till death do us part, but whatever. So they make a big decision based on, what their experience is like together. And we've watched the show many other seasons, and, some of the couples do really, really well. They just happen to be very compatible, and it just works out. And some of the couples is a disaster. So we were watching the show, and a question came up in the show. And I don't know if you're going to remember this question.
Uh-oh.
But basically, one of the couples, I can't remember, Woody is his name.
Okay.
And I can't remember, what's his wife's name?
It's Woody and... Oof.
We forgot.
I don't remember his wife's name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway...
Amelia or something like that. Amelia. I want to say it's Amelia. We'll confirm that with you guys.
So... Woody was basically explaining to his wife that he felt like if she was going to make any kind of major change or major decision, that it would be important to him that she communicate that, even when it comes down to something as simple as making a decision to change her appearance in any way. And so, do you remember what her reaction was when she...
Yeah, I think her reaction after Woody...
her initial
reaction was she got a little defensive.
Yeah.
I think she felt like Woody was trying to infringe on her freedoms.
Yeah.
So I think that she got very defensive, and I think we caught Woody off guard. Because they really hadn't had a talk like that.
Mm-hmm. This particular couple, they really had good chemistry with one another. They were very attracted to one another.
Right.
But through their honeymoon period, which is the time when most of the couples start to really kind of dive into who are you and tell me a little bit more about yourself, they kind of skipped some of the deep questions, and they were more concerned with their chemistry, the physical chemistry, which is important, but they didn't dive deep in that 7-week honeymoon that they had. So once they got back and moved in together, that's kind of when one of the experts kind of guided them to, hey, you may want to spend a little bit more time, really diving deeper into asking questions and dealing with heavier stuff. So anyway, this was one of the things that came up during their conversation, and I wanted to know kind of what your thoughts on that whole topic regarding, do you feel it's important to have conversations with your spouse if you are going to make any major decisions or changes, or even any small changes or things that could impact your spouse. Because one of the things, I'm sorry, before you answer, one of the things Woody said was, when basically she was like, what if I decided to cut all my hair off and go bald? And Woody was like, well, I would hope you would tell me or talk to me about that before you decide to do it. And she was like, why do I need to tell you what I'm going to do with my hair? It's my hair. It's my decision. It has nothing to do with, you. And he was basically saying that, hey, look, when I met you, you weren't bald. And, I'm very attracted to you. So if you're going to make a major change, like cut all your hair off,
right,
then we might need to talk about that, not just you come home and surprise me. So anyway, I just wanted to set that up kind of a little bit so they know.
Right.
But I just kind of wanted to know your feelings about that.
Wow. Well, when the initial question came up, I thought it was good by Pastor Kyle. Pastor Kyle is kind of like a guide, a marriage guide on the show. So what he would do is come visit the couples, maybe into the maybe about 10 days in or something like that. Something like 10 days in, he would come visit them and just kind of ask questions just to see how the marriage is going, just basically doing a temperature check. And so, I think that when I first heard the initial question, I thought it was good because, like my wife said, they only talked about, kind of superficial stuff. They didn't really dig deep into making major decisions in their lives as a married couple because, again, they're married at first sight. So my initial thought was I wasn't kind of taken back that she felt that way. I was just more happy that the fact that they talked about it, because for me, yes, if my wife was to come in or make a major decision to change her hair or do something, it's not the fact of I don't want her to change her hair. I want to know that she's willing to communicate to me that that's something that she is interested in doing. If you go out and just make an independent decision to do that and then you don't say anything to me, then yeah, I'm going to feel like, okay, well, what other decisions are you going to make that you're not going to say anything to me? Because it's just a microcosm of all of the decisions that are going to be made.
So let me ask you this. So let's say I feel like I know you pretty well,
right,
and I feel like, hey, I'm going to go out and make this decision for us, whether it has to do with my hair, something that I purchased for our house, or anything along those lines. And I feel like I know you well enough that making this decision, well, first of all, it won't negatively impact you.
Right.
But I feel like you would be comfortable with it. Would you trust me enough to say, you know what, I don't really have that many concerns about my wife making these decisions because she knows me and she knows what I'm thinking, and she probably wouldn't do something that would just be...
Yeah. So it's a catch-22 for me. Yeah, I'm very comfortable. If you feel like you know me, babe, and you make that decision, that's fine. It's just, I guess I'm kind of more of, it's not necessarily not necessarily what you're doing, it's just kind of how, you know what I'm saying?
I know, but I just explained. I'll give you a more concrete example.
Okay.
So let's just use what, we saw on TV. So I pretty much know that you like my hair many different ways. I know you like my hair when I wear it natural.
Right.
You're okay if I wear a scarf. I know that you're okay, if I wear it natural but maybe not blown out in an afro. If I came home one day and my hair was straight, do you feel like that's something I need to have a conversation with you about? Or is that not drastic enough because it's not a permanent change that you would be comfortable?
Yeah, it wouldn't be drastic to the point to where it would affect how I see you.
So then you would be okay with me making that kind of decision without talking to you first?
I would be okay with you making that decision, but I would sort of wonder in the back of my mind, like, maybe, man, why she didn't say something to me? Like,
well, what if I wanted to surprise you? What if it was our anniversary? What if it was your birthday? or something,
Yeah,
and
I
I just
mean-
wanted to do something and come home and be like, hey, here I am, and show you,
Yeah.
because it's not permanent. I can put water on my hair and
if beforehand I didn't say, hey, I don't, because I think, before I met my wife, she used to wear her hair straight. So I've kind of seen you like that in that light. So in an instance, in that particular situation, I like you both ways, so
would you be okay with me doing it?
So I would be okay as far as your hair. You know what I'm saying? Like your hair
Yeah,
wouldn't
because it's
be,
not a permanent
it's not
thing.
a permanent thing, right? I would be okay with your hair. So it just depends on what it is.
Okay,
You know
so what
I'm
if I
saying?
wanted to do what Woody's wife was do? If I wanted to cut my hair bald, like your cousin just did. She
Right.
just went, cut all her hair off. She's gorgeous though.
Yeah.
And it looks
Well, yeah,
amazing
yeah,
on
yeah,
her.
yeah,
So
it does.
I come home next Friday, no hair. You thought I went to work. I went to the barber shop, got my hair chopped off.
Yeah, I would want you to talk to me about that first. I'll be honest with you. I mean, that's because you can't. It's not like when you straighten your hair, you can put it back, but you can't put no hair back on
I can
your
put on a
head.
wig if you don't like it.
Yeah, but I want some authentic. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's get into something beyond just our physical looks.
Right.
Well, let me answer first.
Right.
Honestly, I think if you came home and you looked totally different than something that I was accustomed to,
Right.
and you had not talked to me about it before, like let's just use an example of cutting your hair bald. I probably would be a little bit taken aback because like that's not something that I would think you would want to do. So if you did something totally out of your character, then yes, I would be concerned, not so much about the fact that you did it. I mean, that you did it like you did it to me. But like, what's going on? Like, I would be concerned more about your mental.
So obviously
Your
that's,
mental and emotional
and I was just
state.
going to ask you, why would you be concerned? You would think.
I
something
would
wrong?
think because it's totally out of your character, and I've never heard you say, "Oh man, I'd love to shave my hair off one day."
Oh, okay.
That it would concern me.
So you think something wrong?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would be digging in a little bit more into your emotional,
Gotcha. So if you cut your hair off, I'm trying to figure. So you not mental? You just surprised me.
I think yes. I mean, I think it goes both ways, honestly. I think that if I cut my hair off and you never heard me say anything about, "Hey, I would love to do this," trust me, if I come home bald one day, there's something going on because that would not be in my character.
Gotcha.
If I was the type of woman who always changed my hairstyle, like, there's some women I know that they love to look different.
Right.
They change their hair color. They're always doing something different.
Right.
So if a woman like that came home bald one day, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal.
Okay.
So, but for me, this conversation has less to do with just our physical looks. It has more to do with that piece that says, is it important for couples to talk about major things that are going to be different?
Right.
And you decide to do something totally different. Like, for example, if you wanted, because you've got that entrepreneur spirit, let's say you wanted to start a business, right? Mm-hmm. And you started the business without me knowing anything about it.
Right.
No details, nothing. I'm just surprised one day and you come up and say, "Guess what, babe? I started a business." But you never, because this is more like real life for us.
Right.
You never shared that with me. Is that okay?
No, I don't think it's really ever okay not to, share things with your spouse
Before it's done.
Before it's done, right? I think that you should communicate. This is what I'm doing now. For our situation, I tend to, I tend to sort of take on certain ideas, and I don't always communicate with my wife, so I will admit that, so I think for us it becomes more of a it takes it once you do something like that, then not only are you starting a business, but now you have to commit the time to that, So I think sometimes I don't factor in, okay, well, I'm starting a little harmless side project, because a lot of times they're not full blown business. They may be side projects I'm just trying out, but it's going to require time, which, my wife is huge on that, which I am too, but she's really huge on that. So it takes away that quality time that I'm going to be able to spend with her, and I don't factor in, a lot of times I don't count the cost with that. So recently,
or anything. I mean, just the fact that you're starting a business, even if you're calling it a project, the investment is more than just time. You invest money into it.
Yeah, but I'm investing. Sometimes, and this is where you entrepreneurs, you can kind of give me your feedback on this. But a lot of times when I invest money, it's money from another business, so I'm not actually taking money from our household. So sometimes
but okay, that gets into a whole nother thing. Because to me, any money made, whether it's from this branch over here, this stream, is household money.
She's correct. It is. I didn't mean it that way. Like, it's not our household money. I just meant more of, it's not in the flow of, because business money is not being used personally right now. It's just being used for business. So yes, it is our household money. It's just what it's being allocated to is strictly that for right now. But doesn't mean I shouldn't communicate about it. So I'm getting better with that. I think that really I'm not even taking on a lot of side projects anymore like I used to do in the past. So I don't foresee that just being an issue going forward. But in the past, those are things that we had a lot of friction about that I had to really overcome and adjust because.
So what would you say to other couples who don't communicate about those kinds of things? What are some of the repercussions, the negative consequences that come from not having these carefully curated conversations about anything? I don't care if it's your physical looks, a business, something you're wanting to purchase and bring into the household. What's the negative consequence of not having that good communication?
Man, I think the two biggest ones is mistrust and resentment. You know what I'm saying? I think those are the two biggest ones. And, once those seeds start getting planted, it's hard to stop them from growing, So I had to learn a lot of that personally the hard way. And I'm, like I said, I'm not perfect, and I don't want to portray to be perfect.
And this is not necessarily about beating you up about anything that you've done in the past. I guess what I'm trying to just get to is, for me, I think when you're dealing with smaller type things, like what kind of groceries I buy and bring in the house, or I'm trying a new recipe and I go out and buy all these things, those to me are small decisions that don't really negatively impact you or won't negatively impact you. But, anytime we make a decision about something that we know, could affect our spouse, it's like important. And sometimes we don't realize that, this was something I needed to talk to my spouse about, which is why I feel like, when it comes to purchases, like there should be hey, if we're buying anything for the household over X amount of dollars, let's make sure we communicate about that. That way there is no misunderstanding down the road. Or, go ahead.
Right. And I was going to say, and what your threshold is different for every couple. So my advice would just be to communicate what works for you. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not saying that this strategy works for everybody, but the fact is that what does work for everybody is communicating about what works for you. That's the key,
So I think, especially for us, one of the things that, I'm huge on us just creating, and I hate to use the word rules, but maybe like those norms, those decisions. I mean, we've been married for 8 years now. It'll be 8 years in September. So establishing those norms and sticking with them, I mean, I think we're in a pretty good rhythm with some things, but then there are other areas where it's like the communication beforehand, is something that we could still stand to work on.
Absolutely.
A little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Right.
But anyway, this is one of those conversations that pretty much, you could talk about for days and days and days. The point is, communication is super, super important, as we all know that. Even my grandmother was telling me this week, I was talking to her in the car, and she was like, child, we don't communicate. We need to communicate better. That's half our problem in this world. We don't know how to communicate. And that is just so very, very true. Whether that's communicating, spouse to spouse, or spouse to children, children to spouses. Right. Children to parents, whatever it is really, really important. So we just encourage y'all to keep talking and communicating with each other. And that kind of wraps up this week's conversation. I'm sure it will continue in our, when the camera goes off. But I think this is where we're going to end it. You have anything else to add?
No, we just appreciate you guys tuning in. And obviously, if you like this video, we love for you to subscribe to our channel and like it as well. And we'll try to continuously bring more content your way that just talks about real life issues that married couples deal with. So,
absolutely. All right. Well, goodbye for now. We love y'all. And
I love you too, baby.
Thank you, sweetheart. Anyway, that's it. Peace.
All right. Peace out.